Very good evening to you. Thank you very much for keeping us company. We are heading straight into the discussion tonight on family matters. Tonight we're talking about war on terror. There is a community group in Kamkunji which is trying to change the narrative. It is trying to ensure that the youth do not get lured into extremism, violent that is. The group is called Kamkunji Community Peace Network, and I am joined by a section of its members. There is Juma Salim.
Yes, my name is Juma Salim.
He's an HSC,
Yeah.
by the way.
Yeah.
We used to have an HSC, but he left us for greener pastures. I don't know how green, but he's an HSC.
So it comes with goodies.
Yes.
Thank you.
And Grace Wairimu.
Good evening.
Thank you very much for coming on the program. Samwel Omogi.
Thank you for having us.
You are the coordinator. And he is the CEO.
Yep.
Yes.
What are you coordinating?
I'm technically in charge of programs and also programs development.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Salim, my cousin is called Salim, by the way.
Okay.
He lives in Kisumu.
Oh,
But
so it means...
he's tall and light-skinned, though.
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yeah, but Salims are very great people.
But I like the coincidence that I've come in contact with two head of state commendation recipients and two Salims. Yes.
Yeah, you know, doing godly work, addressing community issues, amplifying the voices of the underprivileged.
Yeah.
It comes with the blessings from God. So we truly appreciate our government, and also we thank God for this far. Yes, brothers, yeah.
Wairimu,
Yes.
welcome to KBC.
Thank you very much.
Have you ever been here before?
No, this is my first time.
Do you like it? Do you like the environment, the ambience, and whatnot?
It's great.
I hope you're not saying that to please us.
No, it's great.
All right, welcome to the program, guys. Kenya has been struggling with homegrown terror. We have seen our young men and women get involved in these situations that they shouldn't. And we have also seen our young men and women join gangs. Of course, a lot has been blamed on unemployment, peer pressure, and pressure that is coming from the family. But on family matters, we like to raise these issues and speak about them in a manner that is going to help change the narrative out there. And the fact that you, a group of young men and women, came together to start something that is geared towards helping the society, helping the youth, is a really good step forward. It takes the pressure off the government, and it gives the public that opportunity to live by that saying that security begins with you. So the community group, how did it start and how long ago? Who will explain that?
Yeah, maybe I can explain, and Sam will tell us more about what we do.
All right.
So Kamkunji Community Peace Network is a grassroots preventing and countering violent extremism and a peace-building organization. It started just like last year, 2018 January, after realizing that there are so many international NGOs that have been coming to the grassroots, to Majengo, to Isli, to Kamkunji, and to many informal settlements in Nairobi to address some of the local issues. But in reality, they do very minimal compared to the support they get from different governments to come and work with the government and locals to address the issues. So we realized that, and that's why we came up with Kamkunji Community Peace Network, so that we can ensure that there is accountability in terms of addressing some of the local issues, and also there is a proper implementation of programs and projects at the grassroots to ensure that there is impact and the people at risk of being recruited into violent extremist organization, people who are at risk of being lured into criminal gangs, people who are at risk of being infected by HIV and other issues. So we realized that that was a key challenge, and there was a gap. That's why we came up with this organization, and so far we've done a lot. Samwel will add on what I've mentioned, but that is the journey. It is a tough journey, because looking at the community, there are people, we have politicians everywhere.
We'll talk about those challenges.
Okay,
but he has mentioned a group which is at risk of all those vices.
Yeah.
What is this group?
The group is the community.
Yes.
If you narrow it down, there are different groupings in the community. You'll find that the youths who have just finished schooling, maybe finished university, they're an endangered group, because even if you look at some of your bulletins, you hear people talking about unemployment. So when a youth is not employed, and if you look at where we come from, people start having families when they're very young. So the wife wants, the child wants, and now this particular person is now endangered. The other endangered group are now school-going kids. The other day we realized that between 13 to 17 years old kids are forming groupings.
Yep.
And these type of groupings are almost resemble sects, printing their own t-shirts with funny names. When they call themselves Tana Tambua, when they call themselves Wapenda Lawama, those who love or like blames. And then if you look also where we're coming from, there are street families also shared in your bulletin today.
Yes.
Yeah.
This street family, no one knows what they're doing. No one knows how they eat. So they're extremely vulnerable.
Nobody
So when
is
you look at
addressing
these violent extremist groups, they find them as a very unique and a very good people to
Breeding
recruit
ground.
to join their groupings.
Because, you know, when we were growing up, we used to read books about my life in crime, and then you paint a picture of someone who's old enough, someone who knows where the world is going. But nowadays, the narrative has changed, the situation has changed, because some of these gangs, in fact, if not all, they're made up of young children below the age of 15. This is something that probably is unique to us, and we know that, of course, crime keeps on evolving. But the question is, where does it, start going wrong? Is it in family, or when they go out there to socialize or to interact with the other children?
It's both. It's internal and also external. By internal, I mean it begins with the parenting styles, and also the domestic issues, like, for example, wife battery or vice versa, or maybe there are families that are headed by a single parent, or maybe there are conflicts maybe in the families. Those are what I call internal factors.
Right.
There are also external factors. Some of these external factors, we can talk about the school environment, the community itself, and also maybe some people who are also exposed to juvenile, maybe some prisons, or maybe such places.
All right.
I think when I heard on that,
And we're going to rope in Grace. I know she's getting worried, but
She's a parent.
don't worry, Grace. We're going to rope you in.
Okay.
when one thing, maybe when you're growing up, maybe all of us,
Yes.
you realize that a child belongs to a community.
True.
A child does not belong to a particular set of parents.
So anyone can whoop you if,
Yes.
if
So
you
when
if
you're
you're
growing
in
It
trouble.
used to be that way.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So when you're growing up, if you do something wrong in the other corner of the village, and you find that someone else could whip you up, could punish you,
Yes.
and when you come home, you won't tell your parents because you'll get another punishment. Do it today. The parent, they will just tell you, can't you give birth to your child and punish? Why are you punishing my child? So we've come to a set of a community where, as a person, you don't have CCTV cameras and you know what your child is doing. So we are not checking on our children. Another issue is also the hard economic times.
Exactly.
The other day I asked my
Cost of
friend,
living.
he comes home at 11. Let me ask you, if you live here, maybe you reach home at 11.
Yes.
If you do it for 1 week, even your children will forget your face, the way you look.
True.
So it's even hard for a parent to know what the children are doing, the change in character, and these are
The early warning
All right.
signs. Yeah.
Grace,
Yes.
are you a parent?
Yeah, a mother of 4.
Wow.
Yeah.
How many girls?
1 girl, 3 boys.
What's the age difference? Firstborn is how old?
18 years.
18.
Yeah.
And then the second one is how old?
17 years.
17 years.
Yeah.
I'm afraid if I continue asking,
No.
you might.
The others are 12 years old.
All right.
Yeah, okay.
So, how has it been? Considering you come from Kunji as well?
Yeah, I come from Majengo.
From Majengo.
Yeah.
Can you talk about parenting these children in Majengo? Is it tedious? Are you worried that when they leave the house, the groups that they are hanging out with probably is not the right one?
Okay. First of all, let me talk in Kiswahili. I
Yes,
love
it's
talking
fine.
Kiswahili.
It's fine.
Okay. I'm very worried because wakitoka nje,
Yeah.
the kind of group they go and interact with, because they are drug dealers in Majengo. There's a lot of bad behavior in Majengo. So when you have kids, you're just worried. Unashindwa mtoto wangu how safe ako aje, because ukikaa kwa nyumba unashindwa the company, wale wanaenda kukampani nao hapo nje.
Yeah.
Unakuwa sometimes you just live in tension. Unashindwa the future, what the future hold for them. Yeah.
And your 18-year-old, has he ever been in trouble?
No. In fact, he's in college. In fact, he has been here, KBC.
Wow.
Daniel Shirema.
Did I interview him?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know that as a parent, you know what kind of a child you have,
Yeah.
and you always want the best for this child. Are you really worried that probably that particular future that you want for him might not be the future that he might end up with, considering the fact that so many parents have been in this kind of messy situation with their children? We know that there are parents whose children are in Somalia, for example. Some are in gangs, for example.
For me, what I can say is that everything I put God first. And I do sit with my children. Now, the consequences of doing the wrong things. I believe there's a saying that says, from Majengo, kama umetoka Majengo, there's nothing good. But nataka kuwaoneshaga, there's good beyond Majengo. Si lazima the bad narrative inakuwaga kwa Majengo, pia hawakuwe nazo.
Yeah.
They can change that. So I do sit with my children every time. We do talk. I'm their friend. If they have problems, they come to me. We share. If I can solve, we do sit down and solve them.
All right.
Yeah.
And what kind of a family do you come from? How big is it? Do you have nephews and nieces? Do they also live in Majengo as well?
Yeah, I'm a single mom, but extended family. I have my grandmother, I have my aunt.
Yeah.
We are very big family.
And in your family, is everyone upright, or you've had situation where probably there are those children or those young men and women who went astray, and probably they never found their way back into the right line, or is it a perfect family setting?
I can't say it's a perfect family.
Wow.
Every family has dark secret.
No, don't tell us the really dark ones. Just the ones that we can handle.
Thank you very much. Okay. Unfortunately, I have my 2 nephews. They were gunned down by police in Majengo.
How long ago was that?
That is 7 years ago. Yeah.
What was the crime?
It's about police brutality. And let me say, police harassment and brutality, plus I can continue saying thief.
Because the police do not just come; they come for a reason.
Yes.
And most of the time, you find that the men and women in uniform are blamed for such. We have heard of scenarios where the police actually give warnings to groupings, to individuals that stop doing this. If you don't, we are coming for you. Why is it always that we point a finger at the police and not at this group that we really need to inject some change into them?
Police are also human beings with that mandate of ensuring that we are safe as citizens. We also have the right to security. So they are mandated to offer us proper security, but there will never be security if we will not participate. If as a community, if as women leaders, as youth leaders, as religious leaders, if we do not participate and engage with the police so that we can ensure that there is security, like what Samwel has said, looking at maybe flashback, 20 years ago, there was a proper community structure of different ways of addressing insecurity and some of these vices. There are ways of the elderly people forming a vigilante group where if there were cases of insecurity, of bad practices, your parents can take you to those old men and they can offer you some counseling services, or even maybe talk to you about various ways of addressing some of these issues, because some push and pull factors are, like what Samwel has said, cost of living. You'll realize that there are families that do not have proper meals. Maybe accessing even a meal a day is very tricky. So this pushes these people to the temptation of maybe snatching or doing that without having a sober mind of thinking of maybe a probable way of a probable incident of maybe engaging with police. So they end up maybe facing the reasonable force part of the police. But
I think like maybe if, what you've said is what has been happening, that we like to blame the police. I remember when I was in high school, a teacher used to say, when you point at the teacher, these three are pointing at you. So we did something called the Majengo Dialogue Series. A Majengo Dialogue Series are kind of dialogue whereby we pick up a topic at a time. So I remember there was a time we picked the topic of insecurity, and our brothers in the uniform came on board. We had all the community in place. And I can tell you, when we started, it was, you are killing our sons, your sons are thieves.
Exactly.
But then we said, in a dialogue, we are not here to blame people. We are trying to find the solution. I can report here that at the end of the dialogue, the parents said, we have a stake in the problem. We ask our children to go out. Baba leta unga, mama leta mboga. The police officer, like any other community, also have some, say, rogue police officers, like any other community. So what is important is that we should not say you or the other person. I think all of us as a community, we have a stake in this, and we need to just pull it as a community.
Okay. Grace,
Yes.
do your children bring their friends home?
Yeah, they do.
Do you vet their friends?
I don't vet them, but I trust them.
How deeply do you trust?
Majengo, we live as a family.
Yeah.
I know, najua mtoto wa Jay, najua mtoto wa Mondi. So when they come home, najua huu ni mtoto wa fulani, huu ni mtoto wa fulani. So that's how we live.
And do you, let's say you are going to the market, or you're going to the shop, and then you see a friend to your son or a friend to your daughter engage in something that you wouldn't want your child to engage in, do you frustrate the friendship, or do you correct the wrong that you've seen so that you make a better friend to your child?
What I usually do, I do talk to that friend. Na kama inakuwa ni ngumu, I go and talk to my children, nawaambia, sitaki kukuona fulani. and I become very strict. Sitaki kukuona na fulani na simtaki kumuona kwa hao. That's what we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know, when the police is having a recruitment, you know that this is a police recruitment. When the army is also recruiting, you know that this is a recruitment. When a pastor comes to your market, you know that this is a recruitment. You know, it's just on a higher level. But when a bad group comes to recruit a young man or a young woman, it's always wrapped in something, an ideology that at first, if you listen to it, you will not really understand. So are you guys also engaged in helping the youth identify this kind of activity, you know, things to look out for?
Of course, you know, this issue of radicalization into violent extremism thrives well when there are vulnerabilities, push and pull factors.
Yeah.
So when they spot a potential recruit in a family, maybe in a family that is shaky,
Yeah.
they have various ways of trying to lure that person into their organization. First of all, they build a mutual relationship by maybe coming up with friendly ways of maybe meeting with that particular person outside the family, maybe during a football tournament or maybe in local setups like the bases. But after maybe building the mutual relationship, they start the narrative, because some of these people already have some grievances about either the family, either the police, either the neighbors, or maybe the government, or maybe he was denied an ID, or maybe those factors. So when they have that feeling of you've been maybe denied an entitlement, obviously you go to the youth bases. There are hangout points, they are called youth bases in Kamkunje, Majengo, and Isli, and most of the informal settlements. So when the youth gather, discuss politics, football, they also discuss some of these challenges. So when they discuss these challenges, and in these bases there is a mixture of people. There are people with good intentions, and there are people who are there to fish out or maybe to recruit people who have issues. So they spot you in those bases, they talk to you nicely, maybe they buy for you a mobile phone, they take you out maybe to maybe swimming, maybe camp. Then in all those processes, there are some narratives, beautiful narratives, that if you are denied this, you are denied this because you are of a certain ethnic background or religious background, or you are denied this because you are from an informal settlement, or you are denied this because you are a youth or a young person. But if you do this, or if you join us, we have a group of many people like you. So if you join us, we will be able to deal with these people who harmed you. So those are some of the cases whereby some of these young people have been.
And it's always painful, you know, because they recruit the brightest of minds. If you remember the Garissa University attack, one of those suspects was a former university student, someone who is considered an elite in society. Why do they go for this group of Kenyans and not those ones who probably the society deem as rejects?
I think it's not that they go for those ones. They go for youth across the board. And if you look at, if I say vulnerability index, the higher vulnerable you are, the easier target you are for them. Now, some of the things, like if you say people from a particular community, they don't get access to ID cards, don't get opportunity for jobs, participation in decision making. Some of these things, some of them are real, are affecting the communities. Now, even if you have a PhD and you feel that your community is not well represented, you will have that feeling. You will feel like reacting to it.
They do not discriminate in terms of recruitment, just like when they throw a grenade. It doesn't discriminate.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, so
Yeah. So like when you ask what we are doing, in the first quarter of this year, we did a program of enhancing skills and knowledge in CVE and PCVE, that is preventing of violent extremism, where we trained 292 state and non-state actors for a period of 3 months on early warning, early signs. Because right now, if you have a child and you just see him doing some things, become pious or does some things, oh, my son is following our religion. So it's important for the community and the parents to know these things. Yeah. On Friday, this just past Friday, when we went through all this training, then we realized there's a group of Kenyans whom, when we are doing this training, when we are doing advocacy, we always don't find them. These are school-going kids. So on Friday, we organized for just a one-day training, skills, life skills, and PCVE training. Yeah. We were targeting them. We are now educating them. If you see this is not correct. And then another point which is most important is the narratives. Is the narratives. And here it's not about Muslim, about Christian, it's just a narrative. So we also trying to bring religious leaders, imams and pastors, so that they can give us a counter narrative based on the holy books.
Okay. Grace,
Yes.
your son is in college.
Yes.
What is he studying?
Mass communication.
He wants to be a journalist.
Yeah.
Okay. You know, there's always been that thing about tamaking for long. You know, in Kenya, those are words which it's only us who understand.
yeah.
Are you afraid that probably he might tamak for long, and what happens in between, you know, finishing school and finding his first job?
Thank you very much. I'm always worried about tamaking because Kenya sahi hakuna job hazipatikani, lakini I do tell him to practice to be self-employed. Ajue si lazima after shule aende atafuta kazi kama mass communication. Anaweza anza hata mtaani, anaweza anza biashara ya kujimudu kimaisha kabla afanye nini, apply for job ili itapatikana. Plus he's a spoken word artist, anafanya narrative. So akona exposure.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yourself, what do you do?
I'm a businesswoman.
What kind of business?
Just a small business. I do small business, selling clothing in Kikomba.
In Kikomba?
Yeah.
Is it a profit-making business? Would you call it so?
We are trying.
Because I like what you said about telling your son that he needs to be self-enterprising.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to wait for that employment opportunity to come through. Do you think that this is what many parents or all parents need to teach their children? Because I always say that I will teach my daughter how to be self-enterprising.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's still young now, but as she grows older, I would love to have that talk with her, that you don't need to wait for that employment to come. You can always do A, B, C, and D. But there's always that thing about mtoto akiuza sweet akiwa shule.
Tapenda pesa mapema. So
Are you worried about that?
Yeah, I'm worried. For me, I don't allow my children to sell sweets while they're at school. What I normally tell them, wamalize shule kwanza, then kole, saisi alikuwa yako kole. After college, and before your weekend, he can do something for himself.
All right.
Yeah.
There's a group of young Kenyans who are doing. We won't talk about them directly, but there's a lot of music going on right now. A song comes out, and after 2 days, it has hit 1 million views. Are we headed towards the right direction when it comes to art? Because some of these young men and women come from areas such as Majengo, Kayole. They are talented, But when you listen to the content of that music, does it speak good message? Is it something that we should allow our children to listen to? Is this what art is all about?
We are headed to the right direction, looking at the Kenya Films and Classification Board and Music Copyright. I think we are doing great in terms of promoting art and talent. But the problem, as you've said, is the content. I think it's going vulgar, and most of the Kenyans and the consumers, it means that they're enjoying that content, which is not that friendly, especially to our coming generation, because they're talking about immoral things like sex and weird dances. But I think we are very much creative. The only area that we'll need to look at and maybe try and modify is coming up with content, like for example, bringing in alternative narratives to prevent violent extremism,
yes,
youth employability, and also giving youth hope, and also trying to encourage communities, because also the president talked about Kenyans being depressed. So this is the best opportunity of artists and young artists to come up with content that builds on hope and encouraging Kenyans in nation building, and also people being enterprising, and also trying to enlighten the upcoming generation.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I think a very key important is
yeah,
we've been looking at engaging so much on tradition platform of employment. I want you to be a banker, I want to be an engineer, I want to be a doctor. The other day I heard the president talking about when Bill Gates come to Kenya, or Steve Jobs.
Doesn't have a degree.
He doesn't have a degree. You'll find the professor running to greet him. So I think parents should encourage their children to be what God created them to be. And when you talk about the music, and you're talking about kind of immoral music, but there's a key important word which you've said. In a few seconds, it has hit 1 million views.
yes.
Now the problem is not with the youth. I don't think the problem is the youth. The problem is with the community, we the people. That is why it has 100. And for an artist, what an artist does, he does not create content which he likes. He creates content for the masses. So if the masses like that kind of thing, then he will create it. So what we need to look at are Kenya as a community, where are our morals, our standards,
our values.
Our values.
Very important.
Okay. Grace, do you control what your children watch on TV or listen to on radio?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no. Because saa zingine niko kwa nyumba, saa zingine niko kwa nyumba, I can control what they see. Lakini when I'm outside, I don't know what they're watching.
When you're in the house, what do they watch?
Cartoon, soap opera, zile za underage.
Okay.
Yeah.
So as we wind up, I know we just have a couple of minutes to go. Of course, this organization has a roadmap where you want to be probably in the next 5 years. But there are those important elements that as a country we also need to look at. Who is funding you, for example?
That is very important.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want to associate myself with an organization that probably is receiving fundings from a body that is also having some questionable character. So as we go into that briefly, who is funding your organization?
Our main partner is the government of Kenya through the National Counter-Terrorism Center and the Kamkunji Sub-County Administration, the DCC, Moses Lilan, and also the USAID through the DAI, Kenyan Wajibu Wetu program. And also we have a number of partners like Life and Peace Institute, ISEP, Prokmura Program for Christian-Muslim Relations, and also the community.
Okay, so in what nature is this funding? Is it in form of cash or it in form of other resources?
Both.
It's both, yeah. But Samwel might.
Both. The organizations, okay, technically the way it works.
Yeah.
Just like many organizations, you come with a proposal. on what you want to do. You want to amplify the voices of women, the community, to talk about this thing.
Bridge the police-community relations.
Bridge the police-community relationship.
Yeah.
So you apply, then you say this amount I want. So they can either tell you, okay, now you want you want a hall, or you want a bus fare or something for these people. So they can either give you in kind or they can give you in cash.
Okay.
But most importantly, you have to account for every shilling you receive.
They also support in capacity building, creating awareness against violent extremism, and also promoting community resilience against violent extremism.
Okay. Grace, you were involved in women empowerment as well.
Yes.
Briefly, what kind of activities do you do?
For us, first I want to thank Kamkunji Peace Community.
Yeah.
They are the one who nurtured me to be what I am today, because I used to be a bitter woman. I had some anger management, I had some issues.
Wow, I need to invite you back on the program.
But through them, through their program, at least now I'm healed. And through their program, we are going back to the community, educating the women about the importance of releasing what we hold inside, the pain that people have, empowering women, empowering young kids to be what they want in future. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And as we wind up, what do you guys want to see done, especially when it comes to youth empowerment? Because I know it goes beyond what you do. Parents also have their role to play, teachers also have their role to play. But there is still not that symbiotic relationship between both sides, because like you said, long time ago, a child used to be, used to belong to the community. But now it's my child, my rules. Your child, your rules. What do you guys need to be done so that your work can be, can be lessened to some extent?
I think first we need to ask ourselves where this rain started beating us. The music you're talking about, smoking weed, sex, the vulgar content.
Yes.
We need to ask ourselves and sit down as a nation and relook at this issue. Secondly, we need to move from our traditional employment platform. We need to open up. We need to go into art. We need to go into sports so that we can employ these people. Thirdly, we need to ask ourselves. There was a policy that now kids are not punished, they are not being caned. What have we replaced that with? There's a vacuum. Fine, personally I was caned, I was punished. But now if you don't punish a child today, what do you do? Children were not being caned because parents really like caning them, but they were using it as a way to direct them.
Yeah.
But now if you're not caning them, which mechanism have we put in place to direct them?
There is a gap there, by the way.
Yeah, in addition to that, I think we'll need to look at there are always community dividers and connectors.
Okay.
So we'll need to maximize and strengthen the connectors in the communities, like the strengths in the community, the proper maybe relations with the government directorate, like the youth office, the Wezo Fund. We need to strengthen those departments so that they can continue to go to the grassroots to look at the youths in those bases, and also assist them and reduce the bureaucratic processes, and also at least address some of the dividers in the community, like the police community relation, do something on the police community relation, and also promote alternative dispute resolution, into maybe enabling the community to come up with various ways, to identify various ways of addressing community grievances or even individual and family grievances, like mediation, reconciliation, handshake, and also some of these ways they are very important to in addressing conflicts. because they are also indicators like early warning signs, children isolating themselves, being rude, and starting mentioning some weird issues. And also lastly, maybe in security matters, it is very important for the security agents to also incorporate the do no harm approach in their operations, in their patrolling, and also in their customer service delivery processes. When they are maybe apparent, like Grace here, when she visits a police station to maybe follow up on her son who has been arrested, or maybe to report an incident. It is very important for the police officers to have the public relation and also to be polite in terms of responding to her in a good way. It matters a lot. But when a police officer, you know, like in normal incidences, unatoka hapo unaitwa nani, sasa hiyo ushapigwa kofi mbili tatu, so na wewe mwenyewe ulikuwa, and you had your own issues and grievances, so it increases the harm and the bitterness and some of these youths will generalize that individual issue and maybe generalize the whole police, the whole government, and this makes that particular person to be at risk of being recruited into this terrorist organization or criminal gangs.
Okay. Grace, any last word from you?
I think Kamkonji Peace Community is doing a great job in the grassroots. In fact, empowering women, young girls, through educating them the consequences of early pregnancy, drugs, whatever. So I just want to thank these guys here for the great job they are doing in the community.
All right.
Yeah.
And of course, there are so many groups which are also engaged in the same, and we want them to continue doing what they do. If the number is 100, we want them at 200 or even 1,000, because we know that way the future for the youth will be secure. Okay, that does it for us for Family Matters tonight. We do thank you very much. And just a reminder, the national census is being conducted tonight. The government did indicate that it will go on till morning. The aim of that is to ensure that those who did not get the opportunity of getting counted yesterday, today is your chance. And with the bars closed, Ogoda did stress that it's only yesterday and today that they're going to be closed, but from tomorrow they will be open. If those enumerators come to your house, please do open for them, because this is an important exercise. The next time it will be done will be in 2029. This is your time to be counted. My name is Edward Kabasa. On behalf of the team here, including my producers, my director as well, and the cameramen and women, do thank you very much for watching, and have yourself a very prosperous week ahead. Good night.